Welcome back to another episode of Say What Needs to Be Said. I'm your host, Asante, Mr. Pick Six Samuel, two-time Super Bowl champion, Pro Bowler, all-pro record-breaking cornerback, and the last cornerback to intercept 50 interceptions during the 16-game season era. Period. Or should I just say period? You know what I mean? How we doing out there tonight, man? I hope everybody's having a great day, a good night, and I hope you have a good weekend, man. Salute to everybody out there, man. Salute to everyone out there, man. Tonight is a wonderful night, man. We have a lot to unpack. Man, football season is heating up, and week 1 is going to be explosive. Man, I can't wait till football season starts, man. I mean, you know, you got the Hall of Fame game coming up and then preseason, all that stuff. Shout out to Joanna Bay in the building. Where you been, babe? Joanna Bay is back in the building, man. And shout out to the chat, man. Y'all let me know where y'all chiming in from. Y'all know I'm a Florida boy. Deuce Hill, Florida boy, man. Florida, you know, is has the most athletes in all of the states. And we can argue about that another day. But, you know, like I said, I hope y'all having a marvelous day. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And like I said, we have a lot to unpack, man. They have a lot to talk about tonight. We're going to get into a little ESPN, man. ESPN is replaced Ryan Clark, and we will talk about who they replaced him with. We're going to talk about Shedeur Sanders. What is the update with Shedeur Sanders? We have Baker Mayfield. He has some drama going on in Tampa Bay. And also, we have Marvin Harrison. Is he a bust? Or does he still have a chance to be successful? Man, his dad was an awesome player. I don't know what is happening to the bloodline and the genes, why it's not, you know, passed down to the son. But, well, you know, we'll get into that. And also Tony Romo, the good brother Tony Romo, man. Man, I think he was embarrassed in my opinion, but we'll get into it, man. Salute to the chat, man. I appreciate y'all chiming in. Let's ride, man. Let's get into this, man. Let's get into it. Yeah. Energy. We need that energy. Man, so like I said, ESPN, man, plans to replace Ryan Clark has been revealed. You know, once Ryan Clark was terminated, more opportunities would come available for ex-players on ESPN's platform. Ryan Clark really messed up big time, man. He really messed up big time. ESPN had big plans for Ryan Clark moving forward. They had a lot of plans for that brother, man. Steve Smith Jr. has been identified as the talent to replace Ryan Clark. If you don't know who Steve Smith is, man, I had some good battles with Steve Smith. He's a future Hall of Famer, in my opinion. His numbers prove it. And he's a dog. You know, he don't really back down from no one. He's a smaller in height type guy, but, man, he pack a big punch. But, yeah, Steve Smith is here to replace Ryan Clark on Get Up, NFL Live, and other roles designated for Ryan Clark. Are you surprised? I'm not surprised, you know. But ESPN did declare war against Ryan Clark, if you can't tell. And the cold-blooded part about ESPN firing Ryan Clark, they are giving the same guy, Ryan Clark, chastised about having an opinion as a non-football player, his own show on ESPN. Peter Schrager. Former Carolina Panthers star Steve Smith Jr. set for expanded ESPN role that could include replacing Cam Newton. ESPN is expected to expand the role of former Carolina Panthers star receiver Steve Smith Sr. Sorry, I said junior earlier, senior. And it could include taking over Cam Newton's former role following his layoff from the network. ESPN announced a massive wave of layoffs last week, which included parting ways with former NFL standouts, turned analysts in Cam Newton and Ryan Clark. Those tough decisions ahead of the NFL season left voids that needed to be filled. And another former NFL player appears slated to fill that void, which is Steve Smith Sr. The network has yet to make an announcement or comment, but the expanded role is expected to include shows like Get Up, First Take, NFL Live, and the soon to be announced Peter Schrager show. Woo! Cold-blooded. Cold-blooded. Jeez. Cold-blooded. And what makes this so cold-blooded is ESPN firing Ryan Clark, giving Peter Schrager his show. It's cold-blooded, man. It's a cold-blooded world we live in. That's the way it goes. And yeah, like I said, the Peter Schrager show looks like a direct shot at Ryan Clark, if you ask me. Looks like a direct shot. Yes, Peter Schrager is well-rounded, and he's been around for a while. He definitely knows what he's doing, and he can carry a show. And like I said, he's been around. And replacing Cam Newton with Steve Smith isn't a coincidence. That's not a coincidence. You know, and like I said before, it's important. It's important to treat everyone with the same amount of respect. You know, you never know who you will need in this life. This life isn't fair. You treat someone, you know, like they're beneath you, and then you turn around the next year, you're looking in their face and need them. You need a favor from them. But I'm here for Steve Smith. Steve Smith, he is 100% credible. And now you can hear a breakdown of games from a receiver's perspective. That's one thing you can look forward to. You know, people that have aspirations of being a mainstay or a highly paid talent on ESPN can't get caught up in thinking they're bigger than the program. You know, anyone can vouch for me. I'm a really nice guy. I really am. Until you handle me wrong. Then that's when I have to protect my peace. But overall, in general, once you meet me and interact with me, you will see that I'm a gentleman. I'm very nice. I'm so nice to the point, the places where I'm from, people tried to take advantage of me until I showed them that I have this other side of me. But, you know, that's the world's fault, you know, and that's just how it goes. Nice guys finish last. And it's a dog-eat-dog world, man. And yeah. But you can't be out here messing up your opportunities. You have to take advantage of opportunities, especially like Ryan Clark had. When you land on ESPN, it's up and up and up from there, right? Opportunities upon opportunities you should be looking forward to. Take, for instance, Stephen A. Smith. I mean, you know, we could talk about his grind and where he came from. And now you look at him now, and he has ESPN in the headlock. Without him, now you talk about ESPN firing Stephen A. Smith. That's a whole different story. They can't really afford to fire Stephen A. Smith. You know, financially, he's making a ton of money, and man, he's really the mainstay. He's really the face. I don't know if you want to say to the urban community, or just overall the face of ESPN. So, you know, shout out to Ryan Clark, shout out to Cam Newton, shout out to Steve Smith Sr. You know, opportunities will arise, man, but this is a learning lesson for everyone, man. You know, you live and learn. That's what you have to do when situations come about, right? Don't screw up your opportunities. Make the best of it, man. Make the best of it. Deuce here. How we doing out there? So yeah, man, that's what's going on at ESPN, and that's who will be taking over for Ryan Clark. So shout out to those two young men. Coming up next, man, we got Baker Mayfield. What is going on in Tampa? Baker Mayfield isn't feeling appreciated by the Buccaneers organization because he believes he is a franchise quarterback who deserves a new long-term deal. What do y'all think? Does Baker Mayfield deserve a long-term deal, which includes franchise quarterback money? Baker Mayfield, in 3 seasons, he holds a 27-24 win-loss record. But he has won 2 divisional championships. That's what's really keeping him around, those 2 divisional championships. But that's in the past. What have you done for me lately? Last season, They wasn't able to win the division championship. But the 2 seasons before that, Baker Mayfield led the team, and you have to give him the credit of being a division champion for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right? Although Baker Mayfield isn't as consistent as I would like him to be, right? He isn't consistent as I would like him to be. The Buccaneers doesn't really have a choice but to make sure Baker Mayfield is around for another year or two. If he isn't around next season, how much of an upgrade could a replacement be in Tampa Bay? Let's check Baker Mayfield out.
Baker Mayfield, Baker, you've used words like disrespected, disappointed, undervalued when it comes to your contract. What value did the team place on you that made you feel that way?
I mean, it was all three, between years, average, and guarantees. Probably the most disappointing is years. Didn't get offered anything over 2, and so when you're told you're a franchise quarterback and they handle it otherwise, that's disappointing. So felt like I earned that. It's not a poor me pity party over here. It is what it is, and so that's why I said the deadline was training camp. Focused on the team, focused on getting better, and trying to give this team a better chance to win a Super Bowl.
What was the reasoning for
that? For the deadline?
Or for the number of years, or just
number of
metrics that weren't there for
I don't know. I don't know why it wasn't there. So I can't give an explanation.
Yeah. You've said you're a franchise quarterback. You've shown that. Do you believe, and did you make a stance that you belong in that top 10 range, $50+ million? That's sort of the market and where you are.
Yeah, and I told them, I said it publicly, I was never trying to reset the market. I know where I fit in on that. I'm not over realistic on that, but it's also, I know just to be compensated, put in that category, and salary cap keeps going up. The guys that are going to re-sign next year, it's going to look a lot different. So at the end of the day, it'd probably be still right about.
That is true. Every year the salary cap increases. So whoever the highest paid, who signs a big deal, following this season, or whoever signs extensions, coming up this season, these contracts are going to be enormous for quarterbacks. Let's continue.
Top 15 next year this time, and but it's unfortunate they failed to recognize that.
How far away were they from that range?
Pretty far.
Yeah. Did you consider a holdout, just considering the incredible leverage a established starting quarterback would have?
No, because I know I got a bad taste in my mouth from last year, and I know the potential that this group has. It's still, for me, the most important thing is winning and making sure that I'm a team first guy, and I wanted our guys to know that, and then I was dead serious about it. So never considered a hold in. I want to win ball games. I want to play with these guys. It's a special group, and that's why it feels like home.
Yeah. What reasoning did the Bucs give for not meeting you at that point, as far as the sweet spot?
You'd have to ask my agent. I don't know.
Yeah. And then you mentioned the potential of this team. How do you quantify that? Like, what can it look like if everybody stays healthy and is clicking on?
All right, let's cut it right there. One thing I will give Baker Mayfield, he's a very passionate guy. And besides the play on the football field, he makes you believe. He gives you a lot of confidence when he speaks. But, I don't know. How many of y'all out there believe in Baker Mayfield? I'm kind of on the fence with when it comes to Baker Mayfield being the starting quarterback for my team, Baker Mayfield is on the last year of a 3-year, $100 million contract. And that contract, he's averaging $33 million annually. Patrick Mahomes and Dak Prescott are the highest paid at the position, averaging over $60 million per year. Baker Mayfield believes he has played himself into franchise quarterback money. Now, like Baker Mayfield said, the offers he received from the team pretty much says otherwise. And it's Tom Brady's fault. It's freaking Tom Brady's fault. Tom Brady became a Tampa Bay Buccaneer and won a Super Bowl in one season. I'm not the only one who experienced what greatness really looks like and can't unsee it. You can't unsee it once you've been around and experienced it. If Brady doesn't win a Super Bowl for Tampa, sign Baker Mayfield up right now. Give him $50, $55, $60 million a year. Because we still we're still chasing a feeling. that hasn't been around for a while. But I think Baker Mayfield, he really is getting beside himself, giving the organization a deadline to reach a deal before training camp. He's messing things up. He want to force the organization to work on his terms, and they're trying to justify him being a franchise quarterback. Mayfield could end up giving the team enough confidence within the first 4 or 5 games of the season, to give him $50+ million a year. Now, if he ends up playing good this season, or he plays like an all-pro, Pro Bowler, whatever you want to call it, takes the team to the playoffs, finally gets a playoff victory, he's essentially forcing the team to use a franchise tag on him, which is $50+ million. But no one wants to be franchised. Every player wants that new contract. You get that money right now. Not during the franchise. You got to wait during the season, and your money is paid during the salary. You sign a new deal, you get a check right now, and when you sign your name on that dotted line, you get your signing bonus, baby. Now, if this was Baker Mayfield's 5th, 6th, or maybe 7th season, I could justify labeling him a franchise quarterback with the expectations he will continue to develop into a top quarterback in this league. Because he has a ton of production, but the production isn't quite turning into wins during the postseason. Winning playoff games is the only stat missing from Baker Mayfield's resume. Now, like I said, if he takes the Buccaneers to the NFC Championship, they will be more than willing to give him close to $60 million a year. 27 wins and 24 losses isn't leverage for Baker Mayfield in negotiation. But he does have those division championships to make his argument. So, it all depends on how the organization feels about him. But like I said, Tom Brady came there and gave him a different feeling. He showed them what it's like to be around greatness. I can't justify paying him over $50 million a year with $100 million plus guaranteed at this point. I really can't. But at the same time, Tampa Bay can't afford to let Baker Mayfield not be a part of the team moving forward. There isn't too many quality quarterbacks to choose from. If you draft a quarterback and depend on a quarterback to have an immediate impact, you're taking a chance there. Of course, there aren't top free agent quarterbacks available in free agency. Who's going to trade their top quarterback? All goes back to quarterback development, man. Where is this league going when it comes to quarterbacks? Is it going to continue to be a revolving door? Or, we need some new talent. We need some new talent to get this old work out of here, But how we feel, man? How we feel about Baker Mayfield, man? How is he going to do this year in Tampa Bay? Is he the franchise quarterback that he thinks he is? Like I said, I don't know, man. He still has more to prove, in my opinion. He's going into his 10th, 11th season, something like that. And I think I've seen enough of Baker Mayfield. He is exactly who he shows he is. So we'll see, man. We'll see. He's up and down. He's a very streaky player, but when he gets hot, man, he gets going, man. He really does get going. But we'll see, man. Coming up next, Shedeur Sanders. What's the update with Shedeur Sanders? The kid everybody wants to see succeed, Shedeur Sanders. How are we doing out there? You know what? It's happening. All I can say is happening. Shedeur Sanders' opportunity to become the starting quarterback is picking up steam. Yeah. Deshaun Watson has an uphill battle to perform at a high level. No one wants to see Deshaun Watson on the field as an average player. That would be a waste of time. Deshaun Watson, poor performance to start training camp, made Todd Monken give Shedeur a look with the first team. And I don't think he planned on doing this early. He probably wanted to give Deshaun Watson more reps, get him to feel more comfortable. But when he threw those interceptions, Todd Monken didn't waste any time. Browns make a decision on Shedeur Sanders after day one of camp. Shedeur Sanders will get his first opportunity to run the Cleveland Browns starting offense on day 2 of training camp. Deshaun Watson opened Wednesday's practice with the first team, while Sanders worked on a separate field with the number 2 offense. Head coach Todd Monken confirmed the quarterbacks will switch roles Thursday as the Browns continue alternating their leading candidates. Shedeur will take it with the ones tomorrow and will go back and forth. Monken said after practice via Cleveland Browns Daily. But when you are able to two-spot, you are just trying to stack it and get as many reps as you can to allow the quarterbacks to feel comfortable. I feel good about the depth we've created offensively. The arrangement gives Sanders an immediate chance to build on the strong practice and show what he can do. Yeah, like I said, it's happening, man. And I don't know if it's so much of what Shedeur Sanders is doing more than what Deshaun Watson is doing. That's turning the football over. Shedeur is doing what he's supposed to do. Protect the football first and foremost. And aside from that, I like what I'm seeing and hearing from highlights with Shedeur Sanders connecting to Denzel Boston. Man, I think that's something to look forward to in the future. And Jerry Jeudy, man, he better focus because the Cleveland Browns, they have some talent. They have some pretty good speed and talent at receiver. And if Shedeur Sanders wins the starting role, that may not be a good thing for Jerry Jeudy. I think Jerry Jeudy is a good player. I think he just needs to mature a little bit, in my opinion. Mature in the football aspect of things. You know, Jerry Jeudy, he really needs to bounce back from an awful season last season. You know, last season was tremendously horrible for Jerry Jeudy, you know, along with a lot of other players. Compared to Jerry Jeudy's first season in Cleveland, where he had over 1,200 yards, you know? So Jerry Jeudy has it in him. He just needs to focus, bounce back, and whatever, man. You know, just put your head down and grind, you know? And one thing about Todd Monken, you can tell he is comfortable with the credibility of, not the credibility, he is comfortable, Todd Monken is comfortable with the celebrity of black athletes because he embraced Coach Prime while he was in town. And he didn't have a problem talking to Coach Prime, the dad of the potential starting quarterback. Todd Monken, you know, coming from Baltimore, being around Lamar Jackson, you know, he doesn't really have a problem with the celebrity of black athletes. That's just my opinion. That's why he embraced Coach Prime like anybody should. You can say what you want about Coach Prime. Deion Sanders is Deion Sanders. Man, that's a once-in-a-lifetime athlete. Why wouldn't anyone want to meet Coach Prime? I mean, if you was a football fan from back in the days, you had to be a fan of Coach Prime, you know, the things that he was doing. But back to Shedeur Sanders and Deshaun Watson in this competition, right? Because practicing without pads is much different. Practicing without pads is much different than practicing or playing with pads. If Deshaun Watson is out there throwing interceptions without pads on, it will only get worse when the team put pads on. You know? That's one thing Bill Belichick was irritated with. You know, not executing the plays without pads on, not executing the plays, Tom Brady passing to the quarterback when there's no defenders out there. That really irritated Coach Belichick. Now, from Shedeur's side of things, he's only going to get better and better compared to his rookie season. And as crazy as it sounds, Shedeur Sanders' confidence is growing as a player. And from what I've seen, it looks like he's playing faster. He's playing faster with the ball in his hand. His mechanics are faster. Looks like he's making faster reads. And he's starting to feel himself. He understands, how do I say this without sounding too, he understands what he was going through last season and the year before that, right? Coming from college into the NFL, all the expectations and representations he had to keep up with, right? And he's growing as a man and as a player, and his confidence is growing. That's all I can say. And listen to the young man talk. You'll see.
I have no choice but to be great.
Yeah.
Because I understand it. That's why I have the confidence to even do this, to even come up here and do it, because it's like I understand, what has to be done. I understand what my purpose is, and everything aligns. Will I get hate? Will I get all that? Yeah, it comes with it. But I could do nothing and get hated on. I could wake up and get hated on. I was born into hate, so it's like, what's new? It's the same. You just gotta disconnect from that world. Like I don't intake negativity.
Yeah.
I don't look at social comments. I look at DMs from like my aunties and uncles that really show love. I really appreciate them. And I know if I'm great within, look, I ain't got no jewelry on. You know what I'm saying? And I maximize my jewelry to the max.
I was going to say, me having more jewelry on than my guest has never happened before. So I'm feeling great now.
I don't need external things. Well, this isn't about you.
I was about to say, well, damn. Don't hit on my few pieces of gold.
It was just something I had to prove to myself.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's bad, good, anything, but to me, I had to prove to myself I don't need anything to make myself feel as powerful as I am, like within myself. So whenever I have that feeling, then I could go put on whatever, because I know I hold the power within myself.
That's right.
And those items is just accessories. That's not who I am. So it was times, I was down and I had to, let me put on a chain right quick. Like, let me feel back to being me. But
For real.
that didn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
So then when I was at the lowest feeling of the low, and you got to think this was my first year without my family, first year everything.
Right.
So it's crazy. It's like, if you sit down and think about it, it's not just about ball. It's about just how you think and how you operate as a human.
Man, shout out to all the aunties and unks and Shedeur Sanders DM, man, and, showing him love, trying to keep his head up and things like that. But man, Shedeur, man, that was pretty powerful coming from the kid, man, explaining, talking about the materialistic things that he depended on to help him with his confidence when, he's feeling down and out. He want to put on his chain to help him restore some of that confidence. Now he don't need a chain, to restore his confidence. He understands who he is, right? And I think that's powerful for Shedeur Sanders. Him growing as a player, him growing as a man, and just overall, right? So that, man, shout out to Shedeur. And like I say, man, this is the year, man. This is the year everything starts to come together for Shedeur Sanders. I really believe in the kid since college, and it's a shame what happened to him, with the draft and things like that. But hey, I think everything has its purpose. Everything played out the way it's supposed to. Now it's time for Shedeur Sanders to just basically seize the moment. The opportunity is there. Todd Monken was the coach that wanted to draft him to Baltimore. Now he's there with him in Cleveland. Let's seize the moment, Shedeur. Go out there and keep doing your thing, man. Doing your thing. Shout out to Shedeur Sanders and the Sanders family, man. Shout out to them. Brothers out there, man. Like I said, I hope everyone is having a good night, man. And looking forward to the weekend, man. Enjoy your weekend. During the week, man, during the week, we grind, we work hard. You know, we try to make it to the weekend so we have a little relaxing time for the people that work during the week, man. And, you know, the people that work on the weekends, hey, man, enjoy the extra money. That's all I can tell you. Enjoy the extra money. Now we have an update. We got to get an update. What's going on with the Dallas Cowboys? We haven't heard much from the Dallas Cowboys besides George Pickens, man. And George Pickens trying to get some money as well. He's under the franchise tag. And Jerry Jones hasn't been saying much until now, you know. And it's, I guess here we go again. Here we go again. Dallas Cowboys are back, baby. It's that time of the year. Jerry Jones has to spread that false hope to Cowboys Nation. This is the year. This is the year Dallas Cowboys are Super Bowl contenders. I know this doesn't surprise anyone, but guess what? If Jerry Jones says this every year for the rest of his life, it has to come up true one of these years. So I guess Jerry Jones is gambling with the thought of the Dallas Cowboys winning the Super Bowl and being Super Bowl contenders. And let's check them out. Jerry Jones says the Cowboys are Super Bowl contenders, but open to substantive roster move. Super Bowl talks isn't uncommon this time of the year for the Dallas Cowboys. It's the start of training camp and hope springs internal. But it's been 30 years since they've been to the NFL championship game. So this type of talk often comes with eyes rolled. Jerry Jones, however, sounds like someone who truly believes this season could be different. And so much so that it doesn't seem like the Cowboys aren't done potentially improving their roster, saying he's open to making a substantive move. If we get an opportunity to add to this thing, we're very capable of doing that, Jones said Tuesday following the team's annual news conference to open training camp. The mood is here to do it. If any place, it would be to improve our playmaking ability on defense and pressure the quarterback or have an opportunity to do something special at linebacker. A top pick is expendable this year to add somebody meaningful that will help us now. I'm not just looking for a player. We're looking for somebody that can add to the mix. Jones said he had a notable conversation with another team on a Monday about a potential move. It was a very legitimate discussion, Jones said, but I wouldn't give it a direction. My message is simply, I feel good enough about this thing to give up some future if the opportunity came up for now. Jones said, how close does he think the Cowboys are being a Super Bowl contender? As close as Seattle was this time last year, he said, referring to the championship. Man, this man know how to talk, man. He talk about his team, boy. Now, here we go. Cat's out the bag. While Crosby remains with the Raiders, Jones clarified that Dallas never walked away from trade talks regarding Max Crosby. We didn't, he said. We did not walk away. That's about all there is to say. We understood his injury well. We thought he could help us then. We're surprised by the way that was resolved. To interject anything about what we're thinking or doing because he went back to the Raiders would be a mistake. He's a Raider. Well, that's Jerry Jones, man. He's back. And he's Jerry Jones is excited about the season. But I think he quickly came to the realization that his team isn't good enough to compete for a championship. Right? That's why it's false hope. He sees some potential, but he sees where his team is lacking at. And he won't say it in those words verbatim. He has to keep hope alive, right? And this past season, the Cowboys traded away their best defensive player in Micah Parsons after a contract dispute. Jerry Jones didn't want to break that bread to the defensive players. And they finished 30th overall in total defense last season out of 32 teams. And the year before last, Cowboys defense finished 28th overall with Micah Parsons on the team. It sounds to me, man, Jerry Jones had a ton of confidence in his offense and can't help but face the reality of looking at average players when he look at his defense. He's just happy to see new faces on the defensive side of football after last season. That's what he's excited about. Now, I like Rashawn Gary. Rashawn Gary was a good addition to the defense, and he definitely will be have some type of impact on that defense if everything goes as planned, you know. But for the most part, Jerry Jones is confident about this team being a Super Bowl contender. He's just happy about his purchases, his purchases that are out there. Everybody's decided when they buy a new outfit, you buy a new car, anything you buy new, you're excited about it for the time being until that car, those clothes, you wore them, the car starts giving you problems. That's what Jerry Jones is going through. The Dallas Cowboys defense was orchestrated by Jerry Jones, and that defense doesn't have any impact players on it since Micah Parsons departed ways. Now, like I say, with the additions of Rashawn Gary and, maybe Quinnen Williams, maybe the first round pick, Malachi Lawrence, where are the impact players at on this defense? Jerry Jones been scrambling to put a good competing defense together ever since he decided to trade Micah Parsons away. Now, here's the conversation, chat. Y'all talk to me. Jerry Jones wants to gamble on a trade for Max Crosby. Where was Jerry Jones when talks of Myles Garrett being traded were going on? Where was it? Why wasn't Dallas interested in making a move for Myles Garrett? I just don't understand that concept. That's the one player you can guarantee will have immediate impact on defense and for the team. No doubt about it. The Dallas Cowboys had 2 first-round picks in this past draft, and they had 2 first-round picks. They got 2 first-round picks, they had 2 first-round picks in the 2027 draft before acquiring Malachi Lawrence and Quinnen Williams. 2 first-round picks and a whole lot of money satisfies a trade for Myles Garrett. And if you have to add a player with that, then so be it. Maybe 1 first-round pick and a player satisfied the deal for Myles Garrett. How frustrated how frustrated he was in being in Cleveland and not winning. I don't know. Jerry Jones loves his offensive players, but when it comes to the defensive side of football, he thinks twice before cutting that check. I mean, Max Crosby, he's definitely a good player, but he's no Myles Garrett. Now, can Max Crosby make a difference on the Dallas defensive side of the football? Yeah, of course. Max Crosby is a good player, like I said. But Max Crosby isn't going to take the Dallas Cowboys from 30th overall defense to top 10. Myles Garrett is that once-in-a-lifetime player. Dallas Cowboys potentially had opportunity to add to the team. Now, if anyone can take the defense from 30th overall to 10th overall, it would be Myles Garrett. Max Crosby, man, he brings elite pass rushing ability to the defense, and he's definitely disciplined in the rush game, in the running game, the running attack. And he would be good for the locker room. But at this point, I don't know what Jerry Jones' expectations are. I thought he was trading away Michael Parsons to try to build and rebuild this team, from the ground up, starting with the draft. But hey, when you look at the draft and you look at free agency, the amount of quality players that are available that can, have an impact. I mean, it's very challenging in my eyes. Maybe I look at things different. I don't know. But it's very challenging in my eyes. But once again, here we are, Super Bowl champs or Super Bowl contenders. I'm not going to even take it that far and say Super Bowl champs. Dallas Cowboys, man. Dallas Cowboys are hey, look for them to be in the thick of things when the playoff time comes. All right, so let's get into this next segment when we got Marvin Harrison Jr. Marvin Harrison Jr., what is he up to? Why is he struggling so much? Marvin Harrison Jr. Hey, what can I say? Marvin Harrison Jr. isn't showing any improvement, and he's heading into his third season with the Arizona Cardinals. His best asset at this point is his size. He only has one speed, and he will drop some passes. His hands are not dependable. And that sounds like a lot of negatives to be the 4th overall pick. And I'm not sure. I'm sure he is giving 100% effort, but when I'm watching him run his routes and things like that, he's just not fast. Or he doesn't have the quickness to be effective from the line of scrimmage, right? It takes him a long time to get going. And then when he gets going, it's just one speed. I don't see him coming in and out of his breaks, at a good speed. And, when you're watching him run these routes, it's like, if this is the 4th overall pick, man, it's hard to watch, man. Let's check him out, man. Let's check him out. So here we go. We got Marvin Harrison Jr., the 4th overall pick, in the 2023 NFL draft. And then you have Cedric Wilson. And they're out here going route for route, running the same route. And look at the difference in these two receivers. If you didn't see this already, check it out. Cedric Wilson looks pretty good. Oh, man. This looks... I mean, very lackadaisical. Very lackadaisical, in my opinion, when you watch Marvin Harrison Jr. run his routes. It looks lackadaisical. And you can blame the quarterback for some of those bad passes, but reality is the quarterback is expecting Marvin Harrison to be at a certain place when he comes in and out of his breaks. At Harrison's speed, it's hard for quarterbacks to adjust and, figure out exactly where he's going to be, man. It's just lackluster. That's what it looks like. And maybe he's giving full 100% effort, but and don't get it twisted. Don't get me wrong. It's hard to have the total package as a receiver. Some receivers have good speed and average hands, or dependable, sure hands and average speed. It's hard to have the total package. The scariest receivers cornerback has to face are fast, and that, like I always promoted, that wide receivers that I fear that I'm worried about. I ain't gonna say fear core wide receivers that I'm worried about, that I have more concern when I'm facing them, are the ones that are fast, because one blink of an eye, they get behind you. And that's that's ESPN, You on ESPN getting bombed on, But let's talk about receivers. I want to talk to you about another receiver that I faced besides Marvin Harrison Sr. That was a tough matchup for myself. And another tough receiver that I faced throughout my career, that was Larry Fitzgerald. Larry Fitzgerald, sorry. Played for the Arizona Cardinals. That's when I played against Larry Fitzgerald most of the time. And he wasn't the fastest, but he had size. And that size made it difficult to defend him mainly on short passes for myself, being that he was, 230 pounds, and, he had a strong lower body. It made it hard for me to get him on the ground. Slant routes and those crossing routes were the biggest challenge when facing Larry Fitzgerald. And he didn't have the total package. He definitely was lacking in the speed category, but he made up for it in other aspects of his game. Marvin Harrison Jr. has to find his niche, right? He needs to find his niche if he wants to establish himself and have a pretty good NFL career. Now, I could see the Cardinals using Marvin Harrison in the slot and trying to send him over the middle and make those tough catches, but he has to have that will and that desire. I'm not seeing too much of anything from Marvin Harrison right now. He looks like a player that expects things to work out, right? Not someone that is willing to go out there and make sure that things work out in his favor, right? That's what it looks like. Someone that I don't know, that things were presented to him in his favor. That's the nicest way to say it, all right? But yeah, I don't know, man. We'll see. I don't know how much what they can do or how much they can light some fire up under his butt to get him going. But yeah, man, it's going to be 3, 4, 5 players right behind him ready to step up and take on that challenge and look a lot better than what we're seeing. And yeah, so we'll see, man. We'll see. That's the update on Marvin Harrison. That's the number 4. That's the 4th overall pick. That's the 4th overall pick. Can you believe it? All right, last but not least, man, we have to talk about the good brother Tony Romo. Tony Romo, man, one of Fox. Don't make me say the wrong network he works for, but correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. One of the Fox Network analysts and broadcasters and things like that, man. Tony Romo, I think he's on Sunday night. Is he on Sunday night football or is it Monday night? One of those things. But he's a ex-Dallas Cowboys quarterback. He led the Cowboys to the playoff a few times. Him and Terrell Owens was a good 1-2 punch together. And Tony Romo is in his home state of Wisconsin, just strolling through the town, And the officer in Wisconsin decided to give the quarterback a hard time, in my opinion. Yes, we want to keep the streets safe. We want to keep the streets safe. We don't condone in driving while impaired, drinking and driving, any of those things, But they decided to give Tony Romo a hard time in his home state, after being pulled over on suspicion of operating while intoxicated. And popular people in these small towns got to be careful riding through them, man. You got to be careful riding through these small towns because there's not much action going on. When a celebrity or someone with some fame pops up and causing some trouble, man, that brings attention to them. They get excited. And in their head, they like, I got one. But by those officers arresting Tony Romo, it shows that they were really bored, looking for some action. And yeah, that's the only thing I can tell besides Well, I take that back. After researching and seeing some comments and things like that, I saw an article. I'm sorry, I think I saw an article where they tried to say that they found an open bottle in his car, in Tony Romo's car, which should result in arrest. But I don't know, man. I don't know. The incentive for these officers are to take Tony Romo down because he's a popular guy, even though they're freaking they took an oath to protect and serve, you know. Now, I know it looks funny. Funny. Tony Romo, let me tell you before we watch this, Tony Romo, he needed to stretch while being investigated. But it's totally normal for us football players. You need to stretch his back. I'm used to it. Right. I knew exactly what Tony Romo was doing when he asked the officer, could he stretch his back? And then he started doing these weird looking stretches, getting on the ground. I mean, I got on the floor plenty of times out of nowhere and stretched my back. You know, our engines don't run the same as regular other individuals, non-football players. But let's check them out.
Partner brought the backpack that you wanted. We basically do not an inventory, but I make sure that there's no guns in there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you guys checked.
And there were a few shooters in there that I observed.
Yeah. Any of them drink?
Okay.
I don't think any of them were drink, right?
Okay.
Can I do an exercise?
Go ahead, dude.
Squad 8. Sound duty 02, Charles John Boy, Charles Boy.
Pat it down, yep.
Funny, yeah.
Okay. Any head injuries?
Excuse me?
Any head injuries recently? Any concussions?
Well, over the years, yes, but not recently. No, we're good.
Okay. When you
He's
turn,
such a polite guy.
keep the front lead foot on the line
Sorry, one second.
Oh,
and
this is
turn by
terrible.
taking a
This
series
is
of small
terrible.
steps with the other foot.
Yep.
I'm going to demonstrate with 3.
Yes, thank you.
You will do 9, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Just sitting in there. Sorry, guys. 2 back
1,
surgeries. But that's all right.
2. You
Just trying not to.
willing to submit to a PBT
What is that?
machine that you blow in?
It's a preliminary.
It does not determine the results of
Oh
my
no,
test.
we're not doing that.
Okay.
I've already heard from all the lawyers. Don't ever do that.
Okay. All right.
We're not gonna do that.
Okay. All right, sir.
Did I?
All right, that's Tony Romo, man. Body cam after being detained, arrested on suspicion of OWI, DUI, and things like that. I've heard that he's in one of the best states where you wanna, if you do get caught in a vulnerable situation, you know, in a not so friendly situation, you want to be in Wisconsin. So one thing about Tony Romo, though, man, he's a polite guy, man. Those officers, yeah, he had to cut Tony Romo some slack, man. He looked funny. He did look funny during that traffic stop. But one thing that he said that really was funny is like, yeah, all my lawyers told me, yeah, don't say anything. It's like you could tell he probably been pulled over probably 3 times in his life, 3 times entirely. And yeah, he doesn't know what to do besides be a polite guy from from Wisconsin, whatever the town is called in Wisconsin. So that was Tony Romo, man, and this traffic stop. And yeah, I thought it was funny, man. I wanted to play it and show you what we go through, man. Like right now, my back is on fire. I'm going to have to try to crack it. I'm going to need to get on the ground and do my little stretches and get some relief, man. All these years, I don't know what it is about athletes and their back. I think has more to do with us lifting weights and having those helmets on and pads. Put a lot of strain on our back. But yeah, man, that's all I got for tonight, man. And it's fun rocking with y'all like always. And yeah, man, we got to keep the update with Shedeur. I think Shedeur is going to end up winning this battle. Like I say, Shedeur has way more potential than Deshaun Watson right now. Deshaun Watson has an uphill battle to show the world that he's not going to be an average quarterback. So it's your boy Asante, Mr. Pick Six, man, and it was Thursday night vibes. Oh, let me get into the comments a little bit. Let me talk to the chat real quick before we get out of here. See if I see anything interested. Wanted to be in LA near his lady. Miles had a no trade clause. Yeah, man, but yeah, I understand. That's a good point there by Big Larry. Big Larry say Miles wanted to be in LA near his lady. Miles had a no trade clause. Yeah, I understand that. But at the same time, if you are an NFL owner and you want to win, it doesn't matter. You know, I have to see what's going on. I have to take a chance. And, you know, the worst thing that can happen to me is they tell me no. So if I go out there and I tell the team that I'm interested in, you know, if I'm Jerry Jones and I tell the Cleveland Browns I'm interested in trading for Myles Garrett, and then the Browns relay a message to Myles Garrett's agent. I mean, he has to make a decision. The only thing he can do at that point is say no. We hadn't heard anything about Jerry Jones reaching out to Myles Garrett, the Browns, or anything to get Myles Garrett. So yeah, you can have a no trade clause, but that don't mean you still can't make a deal. Yeah, so Myles Garrett picked where he wanted to be in LA, but I think he wanted to win as well. So I don't know. I don't know if he would have went to Dallas Cowboys if that's the argument. I don't think he would have picked the Dallas Cowboys, but, you know, that's up to Jerry Jones to make it enticing enough for Myles Garrett to want to come to the Dallas Cowboys. And I think that would have been a game changer, but, you know, that's neither here or there. So we're going to see y'all next time, man. Like I said, it's Thursday Night Vibes. It's your boy Asante, Mr. Pick Six, Mr. 50, Mr. Big Dog. Yeah, man. And it's been fun rocking with y'all tonight. And I'm going to see y'all next time. Hope y'all enjoy y'all weekend. Hope y'all enjoy y'all night. Good night. Salute. See y'all next time. I am